Hello and welcome to Catalyze Music Academy. My name is Zaak Kerstetter. I'm an Ableton Certified Trainer. And for today's quick tip, I want to talk a little bit about drums and how to quickly and efficiently write a bunch of interesting drum beats without having to put a lot of work into it, specifically for you guys who are just getting started with your own beats and want to get better at writing them. Because I see two main issues when a lot of people are just get started writing their own beats. Number one is they make a 1-bar loop and then they just extend it out for 60 bars and they call it a day and there's their drum beat. Let's not do that. The other issue I see a lot of people run into is they'll start writing like a 16-bar drum loop and like do every single note one at a time for 16 bars. That's really inefficient and you end up wasting a lot of time and you get these drum beats that are like it's oftentimes chaotic and don't really fit together. So we want to find a nice middle ground where we have something that is consistent enough to dance to, but also interesting enough that it's not the exact same thing over and over again. And to do that, we are going to be starting with the drum rack. It looks like this. Just our three basic kind of core elements of our drum beat. We're going to have a kick, a snare, and a hat. Eventually, you'll be going back in and adding in other sounds like shakers or cowbells or woodblocks or whatever other percussion you want, but these are going to be the core elements of most drum beats for most styles of electronic music. On top of that, you can use this technique on any style or genre that you want, whether you're doing like more kind of housey 4-on-the-floor drum beats or more kind of like broken beat, hip hop, dubstep kind of beats. It's totally up to you. The technique is kind of the same, but feel free to use this for whatever style you're into. So to start off, I'm going to just add some like kicks and snares. So we'll do like a kick, snare, kick, kick, snare, something like that. It's going to sound like this. And we will add in some kind of off time 8th note hi-hats. And I'm just using, I'm just going to be selecting empty space here, as well as this MIDI note and hitting Command D to duplicate things around. So here's our pattern. Like that. Sounds pretty cool, but if you hear that again and again, it's going to get really repetitive and boring. So let's stay away from doing that. And to start moving away from that, we're going to be using the duplicate loop function right here. So this is going to take my 1-bar loop and turn it into a 2-bar loop, as well as extending the loop brace. So what we're going to do here is in bar 2, we're going to create a little bit of variation. We're not going to be like be making an entirely new beat from scratch. We're going to maybe like, I'll add an extra kick here and like maybe some extra snares and a kick there. So bar 1 and bar 2 are like 80% the same thing. I'm not reinventing the wheel. We're just kind of like creating subtle amounts of variation on a theme that we've already started. So now it's going to sound like this. Like that. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take this duplicate loop button and we're going to hit this again. So now we have 4 bars, which is bar 1 and 2 are now also in bar 3 and 4. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave bar 1 and 3 alone. We're not going to touch them or do anything to them. And we're only going to focus on bar 4, and we're going to create another little bit of variation. So maybe instead of having my snares go like this, maybe I'll move that snare there, maybe that kick there, and maybe I will add in, let's add in a kick drum right here, like that. So again, bar 1 and bar 3 are 100% exactly the same. Bar 2 is a variation on bar 1, and bar 4 is a variation on bar 2. And when I'm doing this, I'm specifically focusing on, for the most part, the last quarter note of bar 2 and the last quarter note of bar 4, although you don't always need to do that. What this does is creates this nice kind of like drum fill kind of feeling. So as you get to the end of a loop, you get this extra little bit of flourish, extra little bit of fancy drums as it loops around or it goes into the next section of your song, which tends to work out pretty well. So let's take a listen, see what this sounds like. Cool, pretty straightforward, nothing too fancy, but it gets the job done. And it only took me a minute to go from a 1-bar loop to a 4-bar loop that all kind of works pretty well together. Then what we're going to do, the next stage here is going to be take this entire loop and I'm going to duplicate the entire thing by hitting Command D or Control D if you're on PC. Then we're going to add in, again, a little bit of extra variation here. It could be something really simple, like instead of having every other 8th note, let's just have, let's have every 8th note hi-hats instead. And just hold down Command D, duplicate it around. Maybe I'll add in a little extra hi-hat here and a little extra hi-hat here. So it's mostly the same thing. But it sounds a little different. And maybe on this next one, we will add in a few extra hi-hats. We'll add in one there, and then we'll just stick with this 30-second note thing at the end there, duplicate it around. And let's actually add one more, because you want to keep them interesting. Let's do something like that. Cool. So now we have 3 variations on that one idea. And then for the last one, maybe I'll do something a little different. It doesn't always have to be hi-hats that you add your variations to. Maybe, for example, I will select all my kick drums by clicking this note right here and hit the delete key. And now I have one version without kicks. So for like the chiller transition part of my song, I can jump back and forth between these different ideas on the fly. That way, as I go on to writing my drum, or my bass, my vocals, my chords, my melodies, all the other parts of my song, I have a variety of elements that I can use in my song. And as I start arranging my song, I have some drum beats for my intro, some for my drop, some for my transition, all the different elements there. And it only took me a minute to make this. So instead of having one bar loop, I now have, in this case, four bar loops that all kind of fit well together. They all kind of flow together. They have similar feeling to them. They make it sound consistent, but also interesting. And that's really the technique here. And eventually you'll go back in and you will add in like your velocity changes. You will add in swing potentially. You might add in your other percussion elements, add in some shakers, whatever you're into. But this is a really fast way to generate some drums without having to do a lot of thinking or a lot of work. And in many cases, I think the less work you have to do, the more music you can get done and the better your songs will be. So that's it. Hopefully that's useful for you. If you are struggling to make your beats work in your songs and in your arrangements, try this technique and let me know if it works out for you. If you did enjoy watching this video, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I release videos every Monday and Thursday about different topics related to music production with Live. You can also feel free to check out our website, catalyzeacademy.com, for more info about classes and lessons and workshops that we offer. So again, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.